On 21st December 2021, I attended the Building Startups in Ghana event. Now, this event was difficult to get a ticket for. I mean, one of my friends, so shout out to Tisha. Shout out to Letitia if you're listening to this. So Tisha is the one who told me about the event. I had no idea about this event, even though I was spending time on Ego Tickets and Eventbrite, going through the events that was scheduled to take place in December. This is definitely one of the events that I put high up on my attendance list for December. But yeah, I couldn't find the event. I never knew about this event, but luckily Tish told me about this event. I'm so glad I went for so many reasons. So shout out to Tish. So I attended Building Startups in Ghana, which took place, I believe it took place around the Osu area. Now this was hosted by Survey 54 and Zuberry Pay, which are both platforms. So Survey 54 is an AI powered insights platform, I believe for Africa, and Zuberry Pay is a platform which enables staff in Ghana to be able to get their salary earlier than normal, which is a great concept if you understand the condition of Ghana employment. Now, these two hosted the event, and this essentially was like a fireside chat with experienced startup founders. And let's go one by one. So we had Stefan Ayerson, the CEO of Survey 54, once again an AI powered insights platform. We had Julian Owusu of Zuberry. So obviously he founded Zuberry along with Nana Odomako, who also is a founder of Zuberry, but she also runs an agency, and she had a lot of insights on the evening. We have Samuel Brooksworth of Remote Telly. So those of you who have watched The Apprentice in the UK, you may recognize Samuel from years back, who attended one of The Apprentice seasons and was fired, I think maybe halfway through the season, I believe. But yeah, he was there, and he shared some gems from his startup, Remote Telly, which is growing very quickly and is doing an amazing job in terms of delivering virtual assistants or being an outsourcing hub for companies around the world, straight out of Ghana, which is fantastic, creating loads of jobs for people in Ghana. So shout out to you, Samuel, for listening. Keep up the good work. It's great speaking to you on the evening, and it was fantastic to hear some of the insights that you shared on the evening, and I can definitely relate to a few of them, which I will share shortly. And also you had Murabak Somalia of Basil Money. So Basil Money is a social saving platform for low income earners. So for example, if you are in university in Ghana and you want to be able to save some money through university so that when you graduate you will have a little bit of money left over, Basil Money is essentially that platform for you. So this is a quick rundown of the panelists that were on the fireside chat for that evening. There were also business pitches that took place on the day, a lot of networking, cocktails, free drinks, free food. It was a great evening, and this was such a great event. I would have minded paying for it, to be honest with you, but I was surprised this was a free event, and maybe that's why the tickets kept going so quickly. I mean, I tried, I think it was 2 or 3 times just to get a ticket. I tried to get a ticket the first time, sold out. So I spoke to a friend, can you get me a ticket? My friend managed to get me a ticket. As soon as I was about to redeem a link, sold out. I think someone redeemed it before me, so that's the second time. And then I joined the waiting list, and then lo and behold, it's like I was meant to be at that event. I think maybe a couple of days before, or the day before the event, my ticket was opened up on the waiting list, and I eventually received the ticket, which is fantastic. So yeah, it was a great event to attend, and for those of you who attended, and I even met a few of my guests there, which was great. We were all sitting next to each other, and yeah, it was great catching up with you. You know who you are. So let's get into this episode. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to share 20 plus lessons or 20 plus gems from the startups in Ghana event that I attended. So one of them was lack of managers on the continent. So I believe it was Samuel that mentioned this comment about there being a lack of managers on the continent. I mean, this thing about having a business coming from the West and then setting up a business in Ghana and Africa, you do need a fair bit of micromanaging, because there are a number of people, depending on the level of talents that you're hiring, there are a number of people who do need a bit of hand holding or micromanaging at the start. So this comment really reflects that point. So there is a lack of managers on the continent of Africa, and if we had a lot more people to do the hand holding, a lot more people to maybe help with micromanaging, we could get a bit further ahead and we could make a bit more progress in our businesses. So that's one point. Another point was using initial talent as the blueprint. Okay, so using initial talent as the blueprint. So I think Samuel also mentioned this. Samuel from Remote Telly. So he mentioned that he used initial talent as the blueprint for building out his company. So Samuel's first few hires was very key to him and his business growing forth from there. And then of course, Remote Telly became what it is today. It's a fast growing virtual assistance company, and he's doing a great job. But what he said was right. Once you have the key players in your company hired first, you can then use that as the blueprint or the persona or the criteria to then go after when you're hiring new talent. So as soon as you interview someone, you know, okay, that person has this or that person doesn't have that, and you know whether they're a fit for your company or your startup or not. So that's a very good point. This is something I've heard from other entrepreneurs and founders as well. Now another point I have here is partner and leverage other brands, and don't start from scratch. Be collaborative. So I think this point was made by Julian, the co-founder of Zuberi and the CEO, and what he mentioned was that if you are building a platform to do X, rather than building a platform to do Y as well, why not collaborate with that person that's already done really well Y, so that you can focus on doing X? And that really is the heart of the matter. And this is something that I preach as well. Like nowadays, rather than me trying to for example, learn all about being a very good video editor, why not I just pay someone who does that really well to do that for me, to save me that time, even though it's an investment, so that I can go on and focus on what I can do best. You understand? So that's another point. And we got another point here, which is someone that understands company vision and is willing to align themselves with that. So that point was made by Mubrak from Bees or Money. And yeah, I definitely agree with this point. It's important to have someone in your startup or your business that understands the company vision. So especially when times are tough, that vision is that's going to keep you going to endure those tough times. So it's really important to have someone with the company vision, so that when times get tough, they won't just walk away. They will still have that vision in mind that will keep them motivated to keep going. Julian, who dropped a lot of gems during the evening, mentioned there's three ways to get into a nightclub. There's normal, VIP, or behind the nightclub. And I guess for those of you that went Afrochella, I definitely saw all of those three ways, which was quite funny. Even though Afrochella is not a nightclub, I'm just using this as a metaphor, if you will, or an expression. But yeah, I mean, there were people that attended Afrochella as VVIP. There was people that attended Afrochella as VIP. There was people that attended Afrochella as backstage. I knew people that attended Afrochella all of those three ways. And of course, you have the normal general admission tickets as well. And of course, depending on how you get into the nightclub, there are different privileges, and there's different experiences that each of those people will have, and there's different things that all of those people can bring to the table. So look out for people like this when it comes to hiring talent, because the people that are, I guess, the people who know how to get in behind a nightclub or maybe VIP are going to be more valuable than those that can get in normally. So you need people with these kind of mindsets. Another point here is people with good mindsets and are willing to grow. So that point was made by Mubarak of Bezo Money or Bezo Money. So it's always important to have someone with a good mindset who's willing to grow. If you're going to have someone with a bad mindset who isn't willing to grow, then they're going to be very short-lived in the business. Okay. So another point made by Mubarak was that he growth hacked his company to 30,000 customers in a day using growth hacking strategies. If you are low on funds, you're bootstrapping a startable business, and you want to be able to accumulate such a high number of customers within a short space of time, I would encourage you just to research growth hacking strategies, read case studies such as Airbnb. They did something similar. You know, they didn't have much money, but they used very clever tactics, whether it's things they did with cereal boxes or PR and, websites, MVP kind of websites, these kind of strategies to kind of really get your first few thousand customers under your belt so that you can start bringing money in almost immediately. So here we go. So another point here was by Nana, who's one of the co-founders of Zuberi, and she said she started her company with 300 euros when she was broke. Now with this point here, she's referring to her agency. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, she has started this agency with 300 euros, and she really used her sales skills to really turn those 300 euros to thousands of euros, bagging her first client, which was absolutely incredible. Now, another point here is you want to brief yourself and find as much as possible about the brand. Okay. Now, I think this is really important when you are trying to work for a business or a company, or you're trying to approach a client. Again, this point I believe was made by Nana, is that you want to brief yourself and you want to find as much as possible about the brand before approaching them. I think this was Nana or Sammy or one or the other, but I think they both made the same point. Now, it's important for you to be in the best possible position before approaching a business, a startup, a client, or a job interview, just so that you can show that client or the interviewer that you have a great understanding of the business and you are serious. So this is something that is really key to anyone who's a professional or a business owner. Now, when you inspire someone rather than motivate them, you influence their habits and behaviors. That was another great point made by the panel. The tech ecosystem is not as matured in Ghana as it is in Nigeria. That was made by Mubarak of Bezo Money. That's a very, very good point. Of course, Nigeria has the likes of Flutterwave and Paystack and all of these amazing startups who have gone on to become unicorns, or they've gone on to be bought out by massive companies, be it like Stripe and things like that. Ghana hopefully can be, that ecosystem eventually, but it's going to take a bit of time. Mubarak also mentions that MEST has skill talent but is difficult to get in. Okay, so MEST is a program which Mubarak discussed in the evening, a 1-year program for people who want to become software entrepreneurs, in a nutshell, essentially. And only a certain amount of people can be nominated for that cohort each and every year. But once you get in, there is a lot of benefits, which is the comment that Mubarak made on the evening. I've got a few more points I'm going to end this episode. So Mubarak also mentioned from Bezo Money, raising money is tough. He also mentioned that you need some full stack employees and specialized talent. So full stack employees essentially are employees that can do a bit of everything. They're more like a one-man bandman. They can do a bit of sales, a bit of marketing, a bit of designing, a bit of coding. Just they can do multiple department roles. You understand? There are people that can do many different things rather than just doing one or two. And you need people like that on your team if you are building a startup, so that you can cover all of the different areas and just focused on growing the business and not having to worry too much about having to get money to outsource different skill sets that you don't have internally within the business. Okay, so that's quite a few comments from Mubrak from Bezo Money. Let's move on here. Another point here from the evening was raise only if you need to, bootstrap where possible. And I think this was from Stephen from Survey 54. He used tactics like cold calling, emailing, and pitching to raise funds. So he's really good at raising funds. So Stefan also used to work for Uber and shared some very good wisdom on the evening. And don't just start your business. Start and show something for the investors. If you don't, you're telling investors, make my dreams come true. And that was a very important point made by Julian. You need to have something to show investors that you are worth investing. If you just start your business and you've got nothing to show for your business, why are the investors going to invest in you? You need to convince them to invest in you. So for example, Julian went on to mention that Zubri started on a WhatsApp group and an Excel spreadsheet. You understand? So he had something to show if he needed to approach investors, if you understand what I mean. Let's move on to a final few points. So Samuel from Rotelli mentioned build a comfortable working environment. And Samuel went on to mention how people are impressed when they come to the offices. They're impressed about what the offices look like and how the company culture is, that you wouldn't think that you're in Ghana when you come into the office and you meet and interact with the employees and the staff. And that's a very good point. When the working environment is great and the culture is great, more people want to join the company and more people get to know about the company. And it becomes a marketing tactic in its own self. Mubarak said, when you go for advice, you get money. And when you go for money, you get advice. So it's always important to have a prototype at hand, or some kind of MVP, especially when you want to raise some funds, which enhances your chances of getting money. Another point here is, if you are planning to charge for your MVP, charge from the beginning. And that was made by Julian from Zubiri. And if your customers are willing to pay for your bad product, how much more are they willing to pay for the good one? Which is a very good point. If your customers are willing to pay for your bad product, how much more are they willing to pay for the good one? And that's something that's mentioned by a lot of founders and entrepreneurs. If the first version of your product was able to make a decent amount of money, just imagine what version 10 of your product, imagine how many people are willing to pay for that. So always try and get money for your product right from the beginning, so that you can also be able to indicate whether or not people are willing to pay for that product right from the get-go. So Nana mentioned that people that buy understand the journey and your story. So those are the ones that you want to, those are the kind of customers that you want to attract. So it's important to also document and share your journey and your story, and let that be visible to the world, so that when you are ready to take your product or your service to the market, people are more able to relate to you and buy from you. So we're going to end up with the last few points here. So Mubrak mentioned have a company compass. So have a vision, have a mission. How early do you want to come to work? How early do you want to leave work? How do you do your work, etc. So have your company culture, your routines, your rituals, your guidelines, the way you go about things. Have that all put together in some kind of company compass, so that when you hire people, they can also follow that same guide. That's pretty much the points from the evening, building startups in Ghana. That's definitely a strong panel that took place on the evening. So yeah, that's the points from from the evening, guys. If you really enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like, and comment. If there's any comments that you would like to share, please feel free to hit us up at info@thesoundofaccrapodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Just search for the Sound of Accra podcast. I've been Adrian Daniels. Thanks for listening to this one, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.